What's up, y'all? Before we begin, if you are not caught up on the JJK manga, this is your warning to keep scrolling. With that out of the way, let's get into it. So this video is going to serve as a follow-up to my last video, a video I put out explaining why I think Gojo is going to come back and all of the evidence that supports that, in my opinion. So if you didn't see that video, it might be a good place to start, because obviously all the context is coming from that. On that note, I really wish I had just included this information I'm about to share here in that video, because a lot of comments from that video were, one, saying co-parter, which I understand, but two, people saying that they don't think this would be good for the story of JJK. Gojo should remain dead, he shouldn't just come back and solve everyone's problems. And I totally agree with the second half of that statement. I don't think Gojo coming back is this deus ex machina that is going to, save the day for everyone and we can all go home with a happy ending. Far from it, in fact, because Gojo's role in this story is not to be the hero, and it never has been. Anytime there's been anything important on the line, Gojo has lost every time. His first fight with Toji, when everything was on the line, he lost. His arrogance had him face Toji by himself, and he paid dearly for it. Now, Gojo did get his get back, but that's an example of a meaningless victory. It didn't matter at that point. The mission was already failed, and Rico was gone. Next, Gojo, the honored one, the man with 6 eyes that can see everything, somehow fails to see that his best friend, the person he is closest to in this life, is struggling and spiraling down a dark path that he will not recover from. Then, when faced with the dark truth about his friend, he fails to do anything about it. And I'm not judging this decision here. I'm just saying that if Gojo had pulled the trigger in this moment, the entire story of Jujutsu Kaisen would be completely different. And not only did Gojo fail to do anything about Geto during the hidden inventory arc, he then spent the next 10 years failing to do anything about it, eventually culminating in the night parade of 100 demons, which who knows how many lives were lost. And to top it off, the end of this, he failed out as well. He did not properly dispose of his friend's body. And again, I'm not judging any of this, but the fact remains. Gojo once again fails in Shibuya when he manages to get sealed by Kenjaku in the prison realm. And this event led to the cascade of disastrous events that the series is still dealing with today. And finally, he failed to defeat Sukuna. A man whose entire identity revolves around being the strongest never succeeds when it matters the most. Now, I like Gojo. It might be hard to believe from just this video, but I do, and I do think he's coming back. And this all stems from, again, my other video where I talk about the crux of his narrative arc being incomplete. And so he needs to come back to complete that. He needs to come back to live as Gojo Satoru and not as the strongest. So I think if he does come back, it's not about him being this Omega strongest, because that is what he's leaving behind. So he's not just going to defeat Sukuna and save the day. I do think that he could play a role, obviously. He can help defeat Sukuna, and he can still have some badass moments. But it's just not about him being the deus ex machina. No, he's coming back just to be Gojo for the first time in his life. The details beyond that point are up to Gege.